So y'all can say I have a big problem with this list. Now, let me go into why I have a problem with this list and who should be on this list. Y'all hit the like button. I'm about to let y'all in a minute. But this is how I know this list is biased and political, and it's about who you like. This dude has taken his team to the playoffs, deep runs for the last 4 seasons. Took him to 3 conference finals and 2 NBA finals. With average help. G League players all over the place. No consistent all-stars. Yes, Bam Adebayo is not a consistent all-star. He's a defensive specialist. He's improving. I'm sick and tired of this every single year having to watch and look at these terrible lists, and this guy can't even make the top 10. Not one time. Let's look at Devin Booker's track record. I've already said before, I've already went over this before, but let's do it again. Booker missed the first 5 years of the NBA playoffs. The first 5 years. And I don't think people really even look at that or pay attention to it, or don't even really realize it. All he was what a dude with a nice haircut and a pretty jump shot. That's all he was for the first 5 years of his career. He did not win past 30 games in one season. Think about that. In the first 5 years of his career, Devin Booker's been in the league for 8 years. We're not talking about rookies or second or third year players. We're talking about dudes who's been in the league for 6, 7 years plus. This dude was in the NBA for 5 years and did not make the playoffs not one time. But because of that weak comparison by Stephen A. Smith, and I gotta be honest, I fell into it for a little bit too. Comparing him to Kobe Bryant is what gave him the publicity. So let's start from the top. Anthony Davis. Now, what do we keep hearing about Anthony Davis? It's always about potential with this dude. This guy is 30 years old, and we still talking about what he could be. If Anthony Davis is healthy, if Anthony Davis, can just play both ways of the ball, if Anthony Davis can just be dominant more than 3 games at a time, if Anthony Davis, if Anthony Davis just, stops getting hurt, if Anthony Davis can play more than a full month it's the same thing with AD I've been hearing since New Orleans. It's always potential with him. It's never about what he has done. He's never won a playoff series outside of the one against the Portland Trailblazers in 2018 when he had Rajon Rondo and Drew Holiday. He has shown you he cannot lead a team as number one. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're a top 10 player, you got to have some type of credentials as a number one player leading your team. Kevin Durant's like that guy who, I'm going to compare this to a civilian world. He is going to forever be the shiny new toy that never gets outdated. And what I mean by that is Kevin Durant can miss a whole year. Kevin Durant can be playing 45, 47 games in a season, which he just did this past year. He could be whatever's going on with Kevin Durant, he's always going to be able to come to the party. He's always going to be able to, get an invite. No matter what. He can do, because it's based off of what he has done in the past. But I think people don't take a deep look enough with Kevin Durant. And I hate to go here with him because I wasn't one of those people. But when what happened literally a little over almost 2 years ago now, we're almost at 2 years. What happened in 2022 finals with the Warriors really shattered light, which made me have to come to this realization. We get it. We understand he's in year 21. We understand he's done something that no one has done in year 20 outside of Kareem. And not even Kareem has done it. But this is not a longevity contest. This is a what have you done for me lately contest. Now, people say, well, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, not because of him solely leading the team. And what they're going to look at is the statistics. That's all, and that's why I'm starting to see more and more. Shout out to my man Sean for telling me this yesterday. It's become about stats more than winning. LeBron James, another one. He will always get invited to the party, no matter how late he is. He has a lifetime ticket and lifetime access to get in. He can be out the first round. He can't make the playoffs. Another player can outdo him, can sweep him. It don't matter what's going on. This guy is always going to get an invite to the party. This dude is almost 40 years old, and you telling me he a top 10 player? He is a definitely top 10 player. He's the best point guard in the NBA, in my opinion. You know, he has the right balance of popularity and game. He produces on the floor. He shows up to work when it matters. He keeps it professional. You know, Steph Curry, really, I don't have a problem with him being top. He really can be top 5, actually. But again, this is projected. I think Golden State is going to come out with a vengeance next year. I think Steph Curry is going to prove once again why he is who he is. He does it every single year. He got them to the conference, the second round this year. You know, and he was the best player on the court for the entire series. Even though they lost the series, I mean, he was the best player on the court. I'm talking about a mixture of season and playoffs. You can say Jayson Tatum, outside of, well, actually the past 3 seasons, you can say Tatum has had the most success as far as season and playoffs combined, meaning making it as far he has been making it year in and year out, going to conference finals, going to the NBA finals, having, you know, Boston having, you know, number 1 and 2 seeds. They've been the most consistent team. And it's been led by him. But this goes back to, again, the dominance has not been what it once was. Like, for as great as he's been, he still hasn't won a championship. Is he top 10? Yes. Top 5? I got to see that in the playoffs. And for the people who keep saying that certain players can't be on this list because they only play in the playoffs, well, I can say the same thing about Joel Embiid, because he don't play in the playoffs. He plays in the regular season. But this Bleacher Report keeps on putting, this damn Bleacher Report keeps putting him top 5 every year, every single year, based off of what he does in the regular season. Never in the playoffs, always in the regular season. But certain guys can't get in when it actually counts. And because they go through the regular season as a normal player, not trying to, you know, show all their dominance at once, but they save it for the postseason, they can't even scratch the top 10. Y'all know who I'm talking about. So I don't want to hear nobody keep saying that, oh, because they don't take the regular season seriously, that they can't make it in. Because this dude right here doesn't take the playoff series, which is even worse. And he makes the top 5 every single year. So again, it's narrative, it's pick and choose, it's who you like, who gets in regular season. LUKA Doncic, again, the guy who didn't even make the playoffs, not the play-in. Forget the playoffs. He didn't even make the play-in this year. The play-in. He didn't even make a top 10 seed. At some point, winning has to factor in these lists, bro. Like, this is terrible. This is just terrible analyzing. Absolutely horrible. Jayson Tatum should be higher than LUKA Doncic, and I'm not even a Jayson Tatum fan like that. But based off what he has done with his team and how far he's taken them year by year, you keep trying to put this LUKA Doncic, and what you think is going to happen next year? You think that he's going to somehow get them to the conference finals? It's just absolutely ridiculous that this guy is a top 3 player in the NBA. And then we got Giannis Antetokounmpo. I have no issues with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I'll say this. Giannis has weaknesses in his game that can be exploited, and you saw that in the Miami series. His free throw shooting and his, you know, mid-range shooting, his outside three-point is definitely a weakness. But his dominance makes up for that. His downhill, his transition, his gravity, how he's able to carry teams. to be consistent, playing, multiple games a year. That's what that's what outweighs the positives with the negatives. I think Giannis is great for the NBA. I think he's a great presence. I think he's a great face of the league. So I have no issues with Giannis, but what I will say is that his skill set is, like I said, the level of dominance has went down in the NBA so much, bro, that it's so much easier to crack these lists because there's no more people really just dominating the league. He has what he was able to do in the playoffs was definitely impressive, especially to Anthony Davis, bro. But when I compare him to other top 1 players in the NBA at the time, I don't see a guy who's going to dominate for multiple years. I'm just going to be honest. I see, again, other players that have been left off this list or who are coming up who can easily make that number. I don't see a dominance with Nikola Jokic year by year. I think this MVP thing has been taken too far. Yes, he's going to give you the numbers. He's going to give you, all that. But you guys got to remember, without Jamal Murray, his running mate, this dude was getting swept and gentleman swept for 2 years straight in the playoffs. And nobody wants to bring that up. Again, I'm saying he can be top. He's a top player in the NBA because he won the championship. But I don't see him being. This can go south really quick for Denver. There's certain players who I look at who can raise their team, no matter who's on the court, to another level, and those are the players I look at as the cream of the crop. Y'all gonna go to. I know what y'all gonna go to. It's gonna be injuries. That's the one thing y'all gonna always go to. The same story. That's the same story y'all gonna always go to. Injuries. He's been hurt he doesn't play enough. As if this guy has not been around for 10, 11 years. You already know what he is. He gets the benefit of the doubt. Just like these other players who been in the league, who has won championships, and who has been dominant, one of the best, the most dominant players in the NBA in the playoffs. The best two-way player in the league. I don't have to see him every night to know what he already is. I don't have to keep pressing the reset button. Where are my basketball heads at? But this is why I say we cannot pick and choose. If you want to use that, let's use it across the board. Kevin Durant played 47 games this season. And notice, Kawhi's games are a lot of those games he's sitting out on purpose. This guy can't even stay on the court based off his injuries. But for whatever reason, KD always gets an invite to the party, no matter how many times he gets put out in the playoffs, no matter how nonchalant he looks, no matter if he's on the court, he always gonna get an invite, a ticket to the dance. Right? LeBron James played 55 games this season. Anthony Davis, 56 games this season. Steph Curry, 56 games this season. Devin Booker, 56 games this season. Or 53 games this season. So when I keep hearing people say that he can't make the top 10 because of he's not playing, there is nobody in the league giving you 70, 75 plus games outside of JAYSON Tatum, Nikola Jokic, LUKA Doncic. No one's giving you that no more. Those days are done. They're not giving you those type of numbers. So we can't base it off who's playing. You got to go off of their games and what